So as part of the extensive reinforcements that the Vichy get on June the 12th, there's a lot of air units, 3 new bombers, 2 good fighters, 1 bomber that was already on the map gets reduced, and it's the fighter that gets reduced and the bomber gets sent home. But as I said, it's replaced by much better units. So the first thing I decided the Vichy would do, now that they have this superiority, was contest the skies over Syria. So we've launched an a sweep mission, where we're going to try and remove this mixed Commonwealth fighter from the airbase. Reluctant Enemies is slightly different from other OCS games in that the planes have no ranges, so they're capable of flying anywhere on the map basically, and from off map, whereas usually you would have a range. In this instance there's no range, so the French unit simply flies up to the airbase and engages the Commonwealth air unit. You can see the ratings for them, 4 for the Vichy and 2 for the Commonwealth. If we roll, so here's the roll, and here's the damage. So we rolled 5, and we got a difference of 2, so as the attacker we add 2, which gives us 7. A 7 is both abort, and the 3 is no effect. A 5 or 6 would have caused a step loss, in this instance on both of them, since they're both aborted. So what that means in game terms is this unit is now no longer active. So we place it underneath the airbase, and if you like, that Vichy air unit really has kind of done its job, because it now can fly home and all is good. What we would then do, I think, as the Vichy player, is we will, struggling to control multiple hexes here, we will then bomb the airbase. I'll lay those out, you can see them better anyway. So we'd have 20 points essentially. The Commonwealth get a chance to do some flak, so they're essentially looking for an 11. Just take it through the sequence. There's no HQs in the hex, so there's no plus for that. 3 or more aircraft in the mission. Yes, I've put 3 aircraft in the mission, so there's a +1 to the die roll. Airbase level of 1. There's a +2 to the die roll. Wow, there you go. Excellent result for the Commonwealth. Rolled a 10 +2. That's a hit. What we then do is we roll 1 die. And we get a 4. 3 planes with a 4 means it's the middle plane essentially that gets the hit. So rather than the 20, we're going to have a 16. We rolled a 2. 16 would put us on the 11 to 20 column for barrage against facility, and 2 unfortunately is a miss. Obviously we could have had hits on the airbase, which in this instance wouldn't reduce it because it can't be reduced less than 1, but potentially losses to the fighter who's inactive now on the airbase. So you'd have to say that was probably an unsuccessful raid by the Vichy there, because they took a hit and didn't really achieve anything, unfortunately. The Vichy are naturally going to try and remove the incursion across the Litani River, which is where the little arrow is there that I've just put in place. occupied by those 3 Commonwealth units you can see there. Vichy were successful in rolling for their naval support this turn, so it's the Commonwealth's turn to feel the strength of a shelling from a foreign navy. So again, that happens in this phase. Strength is 6. No shifts for terrain, and we have just over 1, so there's no shift for density either. Just over 1 regimental equivalent, as you can see there. There's 2 battalions in a company in the Commonwealth. So the 2 battalions make up 1 regiment, and then a quarter for the company, so just over 1 regimental equivalent. What that means is essentially it's a straight roll, 6 barrage factors from the Vichy Navy, and we roll away. Well, that's a 7, which unfortunately just misses, so no effect from the shelling. Obviously the Lair combat unit, the Lair armour unit, is about to try and hit these units, so it would have been nice to have got that stack DG'd. We might have to think a little bit more about this, given that our 2 other supporting stacks and hexes are DG, and of course supply. The more units we are forced to commit, then the more difficult this situation becomes. Okay, this is the all-important combat to try and remove the Commonwealth incursion across the Litani River by the Vichy. The barrage was unsuccessful. I've laid the units out so that you can kind of see what's in the hexes. So essentially in 2306 we've got the 2nd to the 14th with the Cav and the anti-tank unit. In the hex immediately north of it, as we're looking at it, it's east of it as the map, but north of it as we're looking at it, is the 1st 29th Algerian, 533. Also in that hex is that 4-ton cavalry unit. Both of those are DG'd, so they're fighting at half strength. And then further along the coast is the Lair, 6 chasseurs, and they are stacked with the 2nd of the 22nd Algerian, who are also DG, so again halved in combat strength, which doesn't make it as good odds as we would have ideally liked. It's a big combat in some respects, simply because it costs a lot of supply. So there's 4 units contributing there from the Vichy side. So that's a full SP, whereas in defence it's only costing 2T. Yeah, lots sort of riding on it. In terms of the combat strengths, we've mentioned that the some of the Vichy units are half because of the DG factor. The other thing which is affecting it is anti-tank. Now normally anti-tank against infantry in the open would be doubled, so that Lair unit would see its strength being doubled up to 16. But unfortunately the presence of that Cav unit of the 6th Div, which is also full armour, means that the Lair only get 1.5 times strength. So they're only at 12, so that isn't quite working as well for them as they would have liked. So let's do it. We'll roll for surprise first of all. It's an ordinary combat, so regular combat means you need a 10 or more for the attacker, 5 or less for the defender. And we just rolled a 6. I'll put that there, can you see? So no surprise. So in its favour is the fact that it is in the clear. But it's going to start at a 2-to-1. In fact, it's going to be a 2-to-1. Sorry, we just rolled the surprise, so it's not going to shift at all. It's a 2-to-1 combat. They do have +1 on the AR. Should have mentioned that when I was talking about the surprise. So there is 1 advantage to the die roll. So here we go. So that's a 7, and a 7 will roll up to an 8. 2-to-1 in the open with an 8. Guess what? AO1, DO1, the ubiquitous result. So attacker has to take his option first. I actually don't really think the Vichy have a choice here, because I revise that. The fact that it's a DO1 means they're only going to lose a step. I was thinking we were going to force a retreat, but of course the Commonwealth can quite easily absorb a loss. So I'm thinking we're about to concede the Litani River line. It is early for me, or it feels early for me, that the Vichy would do this, but I'm thinking live to fight another day. So that's exactly what we'll do. We will just pop these back. I want to get this the right way around again. So they need to go to the base. And then all of those boys can all go to there. These guys can just come back to here. At which point the Commonwealth can kind of just feel smug. Okay, looks like the Commonwealth have just forced the Litani River. Interesting. Okay, so we've done the tidy up. The DGs have gone from the Vichy stacks. And end of turn again, really. So we're moving on to the 14th of June turn, and obviously it's again the all-important initiative. So we're going to roll again. I always roll alphabetically, so Commonwealth first. Double 4. And Vichy. So again, the Vichy could have probably done with that, because they could have come back again and had another bite at those Commonwealth units, but the Commonwealth, assuming that they take that turn, can put a spanner in the works there. And I think the Commonwealth basically are happy with the way it's kind of starting to settle down again at the minute, so I think they will take the turn and push on. This isn't a big reinforcement turn for the Commonwealth, but there is one coming. So they are a little bit on the back foot still, until they get these extra units which arrive. I think it's the 17th of June. Strengthens the Air Force. So obviously, as you saw in the last turn, the power is definitely with the Vichy Air Force at the minute. It way outnumbers the Commonwealth's Air Force. So I suppose equally, having just broken that Litani River line, if they can push in and defend that adequately, good situation. So yes, Commonwealth are going to take this turn. It does leave them wide open, obviously, for a double turn by the Vichy, if the Vichy are lucky. But we'll see how it develops.